All right, so my project is on police relations. Um, a lot of people have a good idea of why the police are so demonized, but I'll add more history onto that. But the big question is how do we make the police and our society more unified? So where to begin? The people obviously experienced slavery. They were then subjugated to sharecropping systems, which gave low returns in income. They escaped the South and Jim Crow, but that translated into the North too. The Great Migration from 1916 to 1970 was from the South to the North. About 6 million African Americans. That's because the North seemed more accepting, but and they also offered the jobs there offered about 3 times more pay, but African Americans had to deal with a lot more just when they left the South. So establishing police departments. The first department was 1838 in Boston, Massachusetts. The population was growing. A lot of Europeans were coming over from Italy, Germany, and whatnot, so they felt like they needed more protection. Um, People's attitudes, obviously, of blacks, they feared them based off stereotypes and other stuff. Racial covenants were made following laws and stuff to get around stuff to segregate the blacks and whites, which made it easier for police to zone in and target the blacks. Not only was there brutality going on, but they used corrupt use of power, drug dealing, gun smuggling, prostitution to profit off of blacks. And a lot of people didn't hear about this stuff because the media was backed by white supremacists. Obviously, a lot has changed throughout our history. A lot of good has changed, but we still need to work on it. Martin Luther King obviously went the more peaceful route. Other groups like the Black Panthers, headed by Malcolm X, were more violent. Um, People's attitudes have slowly changed in a more positive way, trying to stay more peaceful. But I mean, to this day, this stuff's still going on. So you're obviously going to see some hostility, and there's a debate on how we deal with that. It's a right and left issue for sure. The perspective from the police, every race, ethnicity probably is employed in our police departments. So obviously, there's a high respect for it. On the individual side of it, um, they need to protect their lives for sure, other lives, and they try to do their best to not kill people, but it does happen. Therefore, they get heavily scrutinized, threatened, vilified, and they certainly are discriminated against by some people. The cop police, they've killed since 2013 on average 1,050 people, and only 1% have been charged for murder. That seems pretty low to me, but that's how it's going right now. Blacks are definitely disproportionately affected by police shootings and killings. Um, and the most alarming thing is that they are killed. They're shot and killed the most when they're unarmed. 17% compared to 13% the next highest. Where does the fear come from? Obviously, our known history, the attitudes, and just everything that you see that's going on. And the biggest threat to our society right now, in terms of justice, is the white supremacy group and some politicians, it may seem. The perspective from Republicans and conservative whites is important. They they're more individualistic. Um, they're more they victim blame. That's for sure. They'll look at a certain person and they'll try and figure out why you're like why you are. Um, and especially the individualistic thing. We've learned and read that it's real tough to for a society, especially ours, the way it's polarized and discriminating based off race and all that stuff. That it's hard to make it on your own. in our society. They want more cops. They want to pay them more. Um, they definitely bring in the police, the military to put out, what you see on your right. They try and get rid of that as fast as possible, and they believe the system's fine and limited police reform is needed. The Democrat slash liberal side of it for whites is that they're obviously with the protests. Um, they lean more towards socialism, um, more accountability for cops, root out systemic racism, and they just believe enough is enough in terms of seeing white cops kill black people. So they've joined the fight to end systemic injustices, racial inequities. From the black perspective, obviously this has been going on forever, so they're outraged whenever they see someone die from a cop when that shouldn't be the case. They can't stand avoidance rationalization because that just leaves them to deal with the problem, and it doesn't seem like much is being fixed. They have to warn their children. They have to warn their children of police and how to deal with the police if they are to encounter them, and that has a lot to do with the stereotype threat. They want to. Some of the Black Lives Matter leaders, they call for defunding the police or certainly decreasing cops, maybe redefunding them towards themselves to help them out. Definitely more socialistic. They don't want to see the military in the streets trying to do whatever. They do sometimes call for reparations to maybe help out. They certainly want to change the system that we have right now because it's not working for them. And there's obviously a lot of frustration, which turns into anarchy, which you see in the picture clearly. Sorry for the pause on that. They work to increase federal reporting requirements for use of force, no knock warrants. They want to keep no knock warrants in, but they need more reason to do that. And that they encourage the chokehold bans, but they are seeking to withhold funds for police departments and institutions that only authorize it when deadly force is needed, when deadly force is authorized. They need body cams. That's for sure. Everybody agrees on that. Lynching supposedly is a federal crime. They want to make that a federal crime. Makes sense. And they want to provide de-escalation tactics, just basically more training for police officers, which is a good thing. Democrat side of it, they want to do way more. The most comprehensive package that's ever been put forth for this. They believe that, we've read it in our book. It's more of a socio-economic problem. You need to look more into the social aspect of it, what's going on economically. They want to lower legal standards to pursue criminal slash civil penalties for cops. Get rid of qualified immunity, basically allowing people to sue police departments, if wrongful damages or their rights have been infringed upon. And yeah, the package, they want to put forth a package that reflects the demands for police reform in our society. Why we haven't seen much of this, seen much action, it's because the Congress is very divided, just like our country is. They rarely agree or compromise. They will if they have to. But you do see some states, they have put forth policies, like the no chokehold ban, no knock warrants. Some states have done that. But with COVID going on and the election that's been decided, they were more waiting for that to see what actually could be done. What I believe we could make significant change, ways to do that. Just local action, helped by state and federal resources. Pour resources into these communities that are hurt, that are heavily crime stricken. We need to get those people out, or we can help them. Restorative justice is a big thing, giving people 2 or 3 chances, maybe only 2, but restorative justice is important because if you are going to commit a crime and you're going to be put away for the rest of your life, what's going to stop you from doing that? If unlike if you, I mean that would be for heavier level offenses, you'd go to jail for the rest of your life. But if it was lower level offenses, you'd get a second chance and you would be more unlikely to attack a cop or try and run away, which creates these hostile situations where you see people die. Resist individualistic / avoidance rationale. I talked about that one a little bit, but these areas are hurt badly, and they definitely could use some help in education, schools, food, housing, stuff like that. That'll just give people the security to not commit crimes and stuff like that. It's pretty common sense, but the big thing is the golden rule. How would you want to be treated? And blacks, they felt like they haven't been treated that well. They haven't gotten help from white people, from anyone really, in terms of injustices, racial injustices. So when they see, like you see a cop in the picture on the right, he's kneeling, and that's respect right there. People respect that, seeing the commitment, understanding, being a part of them, being with the community. That's very important. And then here's my reflection, a couple pages that you can go ahead and read. Thank you.